Hey traders, welcome back to another daily profit and loss recap video. Today is Tuesday, August 29th. I just finished up trading for the morning and I locked in $764 in profits today with one trade. This was in the stock PDD, and in this video we're going to break down this trade, talk about my entry, my exit, as well as my overall thought process behind the trade so that hopefully you can take something from my trading and apply it to your own. Now to start off, I want to kind of just go back to my thought process this morning in pre-market. We were having a few stocks that had solid gap ups. We had AXLA, which was at the time of 8:57 this morning, gapping up 209%. TIVC was up 106%. And those were kind of the two main focuses for a lot of traders this morning, as we can see by the volume in these stocks, 35.87 million shares. In 9.08 million shares. However, with that being said, what I posted for AXLA is the fact that, overall the news for the stock was solid. If we take a look at the morning movers, we can see that the headline for the news today was that AXLA granted a patent for long COVID fatigue treatment. Obviously, that is solid news. I don't believe there's a lot of things going on for the long COVID treatments. So any kind of news related to that is automatically going to be a great catalyst for a spike. But that being said, my only concern with this stock was the daily chart. If we take a look at the daily chart, we can see that overall, this is in a significant major downtrend. On top of that, every time it gaps up or every time it spikes up, it comes straight back down. And history does tend to repeat itself in the stock market. So that to me was a red flag, and I was not really interested in getting into AXLA unless it was able to pull back and start forming some support. And from there, maybe I would look for a reversal setup. So if we take a look very quickly also at the chart for TIVC, this was the other major gap up this morning in pre-market. We can see this big pre-market spike, of course, fades down a bit into the open. But if we take a look down here at the daily chart, we can see it pretty much has the exact same situation as AXLA. Very big downtrend. Every time it spikes up, comes right back down. Every time it gaps up, comes right back down. And that was pretty much what I was expecting to happen today as well. So that was kind of my thought process as to why I avoided those two stocks. And I decided to put my focus into PDD. So what I posted was PDD could be a mover this morning, solid earnings report and a strong gap up. We'll be watching for the opening range breakout to scalp. Posted a link to the financial report. If we take a look here, just to give you an idea of what I mean by a solid earnings report, we can see revenues, for example, increased 66% when compared to the same quarter during the previous year. Their operating profit increased 46% when compared to the same quarter in 2022. Their GAAP operating profit was a 39% increase. So obviously those are all pretty solid numbers. And on top of that, if we take a look at the chart, there was of course a nice bullish reaction to this news. And that is just as important, if not more important, than the news itself, because a lot of times we'll see a stock kind of run up into their earnings report. And then once that earnings report is released, and even if the numbers and the financials are strong, we'll see that stock start to sell off from that earnings report. And that is kind of what is known as a buy the hype, sell the news situation. So that being said, it was great to see that PDD was gapping up and looking strong after this earnings report was released. Okay, all of that being said, the opening range breakout level for PDD this morning was going to be the high here of this first 3 minutes of price action, which is going to be $91.40. I should mention real quickly that I have been putting a little bit more focus into these higher price stocks as of lately. Typically speaking, I prefer to trade stocks kind of in the $1 to $10 price range, but with the current market conditions, these higher price stocks are much more stable and are much more likely to have a strong opening range breakout when compared to these lower price gap ups. Okay, but we can see that it pretty much immediately started to break out above that opening range breakout level. I missed out on this initial push here through that breakout level, but what we see happen is a few minutes later, it pulls back underneath it very briefly, and then immediately starts to recover from that dip and starts to push back up. I was watching that at the time, decided to buy some shares. I got 300 shares, and my average price was right at about $91.87. And I knew that I was going to be risking a few dollars per share here on this trade, so If this were to start falling back down to around 90, I was probably going to look to cut losses on this trade. That being said, my overall risk was right around $600. And as far as exiting and locking in profits on this trade, we can see it pushes up very nicely here, starts to break out a bit over the pre-market highs at this time. And when I decided to lock in some profits was right here in this candlestick, because we can see at 9:38 this morning it forms this initial high before this pullback in this consolidation. Then about 10 minutes later, we have this very quick false breakout above that level that immediately comes right back down. That to me was kind of a bit of a red flag, so I was thinking that we were going to see potentially a bigger pullback, maybe down to the VWAP, maybe back down to the opening range breakout level. But regardless, I wanted to make sure that I had some profits locked in case that happened. So I sold half of my shares at the time, and I held on to the rest of my shares and ended up selling them once the stock started to sell off in reverse into a downtrend. So we hit the high up here of $96.44, consolidates a bit, and then we start to see finally some lower highs forming. We get a decent sized sell-off, and then this $95 level here starts to act as resistance. So I sold the rest of my shares and ended up with $764 in profits on this trade. So if you've been watching these profit and loss recap videos for a while, one thing that you may be noticing is that I like to lock in a portion of my profits into the upside move, and then I like to wait for the stock to reverse and sell the rest of my shares and lock in the remainder of my profits. The reason for that is because when you're locking in profits on that front side move, what you're doing is you're taking a lot of the risk off of the table. So if this were to reverse back down and come back down to my entry price, I would still have some profits locked in on that trade, so I could sell the rest of my shares at break even and still end up with a profitable trade. And on the other side of the spectrum, if it does end up continuing to run higher and higher, I still have some shares from my original entry price to increase my overall profits. So I'm trying to work on letting those remainder shares run for as long as I possibly can and make the most out of every single one of these winning trades. And a lot of times by doing that, I end up waiting for the stock to reverse back down, and then I start to sell once there is a bearish reversal. Okay, but with all of that being said, that was kind of my main focus for today, and that was the only stock that I did trade. And before wrapping up the video, I want to just mention that, as you guys probably know by now, we have a $727 giveaway going on in the Market Master group. This giveaway actually ended yesterday, but the winner of the giveaway, who is Meso, decided very generously that they wanted to pass on the $727 to someone else in the group. So we're actually going to be redoing this giveaway. I'm going to be uploading the list of 37 participants into a random name selector, and then tomorrow we're going to have another winner announced. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Meso for being so generous and passing on these winnings. This is a great example of what it means to be in a trading community, all working together, all wanting the best for each other, and that is what the Market Master group is all about. Anyway, with all of that being said, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found some value in it, and if you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to hear about these stocks that I'm trading in real time, as well as work with our team of traders, get access to our day trade and swing trade alerts, our detailed trade plans, our live custom scanner streams, and so on and so forth, all of that can be found in the Market Master group. There's going to be a link down below in the description for you to get signed up. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.